Hi, welcome to all the Dying Your Way podcasters. Thank you so much for being part of this group and supporting us in our past season one. You are going to listen to the first episode of season two, and I'm so excited about the guest that we will have today. He's a very special person, and you will find that out for yourself. Um, and I think a great way to introduce David Sylvester Jr. is for you to listen to his song first, just a few bars. I'm long overdue. It's about time I write a song for you. Now that I have the opportunity, there's so much I want to say to you. 'Cause you are the best thing that ever happened to me. You're at the center of every lesson. Now you get to meet the artist. Everybody, welcome David Sylvester Jr.
Mm.
Hi, David.
Hello. Hey, how's it going?
Thank you so much for being on today. I've been really thinking about this interview a lot, just for so many different reasons, but I just will let them know that I met you on the Dine Your Way Cafe, and you were a participant in our private Facebook group to talk about what's going on with you and your mother and her terminal diagnosis and where you are with that. And I was so struck by your um, goodness. I
Oh,
was struck by your goodness. You
praise God.
had, you're 33 years old, and you are really in a time in your career where you are just have all this momentum behind you. And I know people will be hearing about you a lot in the future.
Oh,
But in the
thank
meantime, you've put your life on hold to be a family caregiver to your mom. And I just want to start by just saying welcome and thank you for being here.
thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity. It's a blessing to be able to, just be able to talk and let it out. And it just makes me feel like it's not in vain, like my mom and everything that she's going through. And, you know,
Yeah.
it's not in
So
vain.
before we even start, just tell me, how is your mom? How's she doing? And I guess tell them a little bit about what this last year has been like for you too.
Whew. It's like, where do you start? So to answer your question, mom is doing really, really good now. She's doing good, but there's still things that are happening. So that's never an easy answer to that question. But as far as the past year, like I said, it just made a year on February, I think, 2nd, that she had her surgery to remove two tumors from her brain, right? And before that, like I said, around in January, we discovered the tumors, and in February, she went through the surgery, and she came out of surgery different. And one of the tumors, the largest tumor, was on the forefront of her brain that affects or regulates memory and emotion. So, and thank God, like, her coming back, she remembered who we were, and she has a lot of her past memories and everything, and she didn't. They told us that she could potentially have like anger issues, or she could have mood swings because of where it
Mhm.
was, but she still was, she wasn't as affectionate, but she wasn't away, she wasn't far off from who she was either. So that's a blessing in that, right? But the short-term memory was gone, and still is. And throughout the year, we had to make sure that she was safe from COVID, and we did, I think 2 or 3 rounds of yeah, we did 2 or 3 rounds of radiation, and we did chemo pills. She didn't do the port, but the chemo, because of the things that was going on in her head, and because she does not have short term memory, um, she deals with this thing, suffers from this thing called confabulation, where the missing spaces that her brain has, her brain will fill in the spaces with
Mm,
whatever information. So if
mm,
she doesn't remember yesterday, she could say, "Oh, well, I went to the store yesterday with, and when she believes, I mean, if her brain is telling her that, she believes it. And as a result of that, chemo takes your appetite and your want to drink. And when her appetite was gone and she could not remember what she had done earlier the day, she automatically assumed that she ate. Her brain was telling her that she would eat and drink. And so there was nothing that we could do to convince her that she
yeah.
was not. And because of that, we did the best we could, but under our care, this is before we started calling people in to care for her. But under
Mm,
our care, she had gotten extremely dehydrated, and
wow.
she went into the hospital in November, and that's when they told us that we can't do chemo because of the way she's thinking, because she's not gonna we can't do chemo anymore. We at this point the only thing that you can do is just make her comfortable. Western medicine cannot help her at this point. So we brought her home, and she was released to hospice. And we could have did home health care, but it was a waiting list, and hospice, they were offering more resources and just all of that, and she wouldn't have to get up and get out of the house anymore, because let me tell you also, it was the tumor was near a part of her brain that uh, it's connected to the functions of her legs. So
Yeah.
even though out of surgery she was walking, throughout the years she was slowly losing the motor functions in her legs, the ability to use her legs. So at this point, her legs are not. She's not walking.
Is
You
she at
know.
is she at home now?
Yeah, she's at
She's at
home. She's
home.
at home.
Okay. But
Yes, ma'am.
she's under hospice care now.
Yes, ma'am. She's under hospice care.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. They come in throughout the week to care for her, and they are really they are. I don't know if how why they branch out. I know it's a United States thing, uh,
Oh,
but
they're
they are real.
everywhere. Yeah.
Oh, awesome,
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
they really really are a great organization, and we've gained a new family, and whatnot, and
Mm,
they really are helping us through this process. So
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
There's a Rosalind Carter quote that I don't know if you've heard this, but I just love this quote. It's oh God, where is it? Oh, there are only four kinds of people in the world: those who have been caregivers,
Mm,
those who currently are caregivers, those who will be caregivers,
mm,
and those who will need a caregiver.
mm, mm.
And it's and you never think it's going to be you. You never think you're going to be any of those four people. And what you're going through right now is something that really all of us will have to face in some form or fashion.
Yeah.
So I am
This what yeah.
my hat is really off to you. So I talked about you being 33. You've got a full blown like music ministry that you do for your church. You have
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to talk a little bit more later on about the docuseries that you're doing, but you're a great photographer. You're a
Thank you.
filmmaker doing documentaries now, and just an amazing museum musician. And my
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Yeah,
No,
I
you
really
really
appreciate
are.
you
So
taking the
I
time.
just, how has it changed for you that you're now in this position as a family caregiver? How has that changed your life? And what kind of, I mean, I don't mean to put words in your mouth, but have there been opportunity costs, things that because you are a primary caregiver that is, um, you're putting your life on hold, really, in
I
many
mean,
ways.
yeah,
Yeah.
and to be honest, and like I'm trying to do as much or be as still as productive as possible now that we've kind of developed a stride, so to say. She's not in any immediate danger right now or like harm. Her health is stabilized and everything. And my stepdad, he has his responsibilities and whatnot. So when he can't be here, we take shifts and everything. But I cannot. Let me just say this though, like my stepfather, he really is the like he takes care of her, especially when he's not.
Yeah.
He doesn't drive too often. So whenever we were, she would go to the doctor and doctor's appointments or whatever, I would, go out and stay with her and do, but being
Mhm.
back home, my stepdad really, really, I don't understand how children are like sons and daughters do it alone. You get what I mean? Let me say it like that, because even with him helping, I find myself now, before it was the action of it all. Like, okay, it's a lot. We got to do a lot. I got to wake up tomorrow morning early, this and that. But now I don't know what it was about the new year, and I hit this processing period where the emotional weight that I had been kind of like holding
Mhm.
up for
Mhm.
everybody, like just kind of, oh no, I'm good, everybody. We just got to get this done. I'm fine. It all fell on me,
When did that, this year? You just
this
recently
year,
felt that?
in this, like in December-ish, right when January hit, I
Mm.
was just like, I'm tired. I'm tired, and I'm sad, and it's almost like, let me say this. In January, I gave myself permission to feel all of those things
Yeah.
that I had been trying so hard to hide and mask and keep away for the sake of people not worrying about us. Because so many people, I hear you, especially after the docuseries, people's like, oh my God, I didn't know. Are you good? Are you okay? I'm going to call you. I'm going to do this. And I had to be like, no, don't, because even that's overwhelming. So it's fine. I'm good. Everybody, and I had to keep this face on. And in January, I realized how much I had not been giving myself permission to feel. And it just all fell on me. And the cost that was paid is, I just, I don't take all my gigs, because I'm a contract musician. I do these gigs and everything. I don't accept all of them anymore, but I think that's a good thing, because I'm not, I don't feel like we weren't meant to take every job and do everything. But
Mm.
now I'm learning that I don't owe, because my mom is sick, and I'm not blaming it on her, but she gave me a reason not to have to explain when I don't feel like it.
Wow.
It's almost like I don't have it in me right now. I have to, these days, I really have to conserve my energy and use it for certain things. I
Yeah.
have to budget my rest just like I do my work,
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
just, I don't, yeah.
And
So
that
that's,
self-care is just like, is so important. I mean, I also was caregiver for both my parents, like the last,
oof.
for a big 6-year chunk of my life. And I had a great job. I was like in California. I had to move back to Texas. And, at the time, you don't know what you're getting into until you're in it. And, there's a lot of, you know, well, it's just learning, just from starting at nothing and learning everything, as you're
Yeah,
going. And
yeah.
I had,
And it's so much. It's one thing after another.
oh, yeah, it's constant. And I mean, there was salary loss, there was retirement savings lost at a crucial time in my life. And at some point, just in the last few years, I mean, years after I was finished, caregiving, it's on average, people lose $500,000 while they
Mm.
are being primary caregivers because of the social security benefits that they lose, because of the retirement benefits they lose, because of the salary that they lose. I mean, it's something that, because it's your mom, because it's your dad, because it's your family, you don't care and you don't think about it. You do what you have to
Hmm.
do. But when it's over, you really
Mm.
are going, well, I just hope, I'm saying that just because I hope you appreciate and are inspired to support others that are in this role that is not supported by society, really.
Exactly. Oh no, I get it. When somebody before, when I would hear somebody say, "Oh yeah, I came home, I moved home because I had to take care of my mom." I was talking to people, and I should have taken that as a note. I was talking to people from high school that I knew that were ahead of me. And I'm like, "Oh, you back here? What are you doing back in town?" "Oh well, my mom got sick. I'm taking care." And I was like, "Oh okay." But now I'm like, "Oh okay."
Yeah, yeah,
I could imagine. I don't know what the situation is, but for that to, I get it now, and I immediately empathize with,
yeah,
so.
yeah. Yeah, and my mother had Alzheimer's too, so it was very,
Oh,
very similar to your mom. I know she doesn't have Alzheimer's, but it's just that there is that short-term memory loss, and
yeah,
that,
yeah, yeah.
I think I heard you talk about the emotional. You use the word, and it's where her emotional. affect is not the same.
Yeah, definitely the depth,
Yeah,
and everything. Yeah,
but it was a good time in my life, and I I would repeat it all over again. I
that's
would re-
beautiful.
I would repeat it
That's
all over
beautiful.
again.
What was the most challenging part of it for you?
Um, just the duration, I guess. I mean,
Mm,
because you go into it and you think, okay, this is me, and I'm going to get other help from other family members or something, and it doesn't come, and you're by yourself, and it goes on and on and on. And I would go to my mom, ended up in long-term care. She died at home, but um, she was in long-term care, and I would drive 45 minutes to go see her. And it was always like slapping on the happy face and going in there, but sometimes I couldn't do it. I would just be in the parking lot and I would just cry, and I wouldn't even go in. I'd turn around because it was just too much. But then there were a lot of things that happened that were really funny too. you know Groundhog's Day, you go in and you say hi mom, and she just light bright, and going to the nurse's station, and you go out the door, you go to the nurse's station, 5 minutes later you're back in. It's like you're a new person she's never met. Started all over again. So
yeah,
I mean, you got to laugh at stuff like that. But anyway, I wanted to, because I do want people to go to YouTube and to see your docu-series Terminal. You've got 3 episodes that are up now.
yes, ma'am. 3 episodes so far, and they could go to YouTube or they could go to. It's on my Facebook, but it's also on my website. And
Website.
I know on my website you could go straight to it and click, drive the terminal. It'll have
Yeah.
everything. Yeah,
But
but I
one
mean,
of the things that I loved about the what I saw is that it was very real. It was very authentic. It was very loving. I love the juxtaposition of what she was like before and what her
mm,
current reality is, and that throughout, and meeting your stepfather and meeting your sister and hearing your music throughout. It's just very yeah, it's very to the bone, as they say.
I appreciate that. I really do. Yeah, it was important. Yeah, it's important for people to see who she was, because that's the mark I wanted to leave on the world. Who she was. I mean, yes, we're going through this, and this is an opportunity to raise awareness about just being checked, and making sure we go and see what's going on in our bodies and all of that. But as far as the woman that she was to me and the people that knew her, you know, at this point, that woman may not be able to stand on a stage where the world can see her real time and affect them. But I can take the memory that she has put in me, in my mind, and I could use everything that I have to just create a likeness of her
Mm.
that that people can experience. And hopefully she if she does not affect them herself, then the love that she has grown in me for her can affect the people watching, so.
Well, and I get a sense of how full of life she was in her own artistry, and I see where you get yours from her. And when my mother died, she donated her body to science, and
Oh wow, that's
we
really
she
cool.
was at home, and we bathed her and we dressed her, and before the funeral home came to get her body. But I knew that there would be strangers that would be undressing her,
Yeah,
because she's
yeah.
donating her body to science. And I just was just at the last minute overwhelmed that I had to let those people
Ah,
know who she really was, so I
yeah.
quickly like did this narrative of who this
Mm,
person was, and her amazing accomplishments, before they put
that's
any
good.
kind of knife to her body. I wanted them to know
Right.
what a person she was. And I thought of that when I was watching your docu-series, because it's just really letting your viewers know who your mother is. It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Thank you.
So I wanted to know what led you to do that. I mean, what was the artistic inspiration to do that?
To do the docuseries?
Mhm.
Well, the reason that I wanted to do it was because my mom my mom is a Leo, and I say that to say I'm into astrology, and I know one of the things that she identifies with that a Leo has, one of the characteristics is that she's a center stage spotlight person. She
Mm,
loves being the life of a party. She loves being the one, dressing and being, admired and being seen, and she always would ask me to do things for her business and her, like, she wanted me to shoot a commercial once I started working with the film, and she wanted me to throw her a party for her newspaper, and a 90s party. And these are all things that I never got around to do, and so when this hit, and I'm like, dang, like, I never did it. I never did these things for her, or I never put her in that spotlight, so to say, in all of these other avenues. And now I risk the chance of losing her before I can even do it.
mhm,
So what I will, I was like, well, what I know that I can do is I could document this journey. If this is the last mile of the way that I'm walking with my mom, I want to have it. I want to be able to go back and see it. I want to look at it. I may not be able to get footage of her when she was in her, like before the surgery, because I didn't know that this was coming. But now that I know and she's still breathing, I can, I can tell her story, and I could remember her, and I could try to, because just sitting by her bed, like the doctor says, spend as much time as you can with her now, just in case. And in my mind, I'm like, once everything is said and done, if this does lead to her transition, and that won't be enough for me. Just knowing I sat on the side of her bed and
mhm.
held her hand and stroked her hair and told her it was going to be okay, that's not enough. So I thought about, yeah, like I said, I
Enough
thought
for
about what I could
her.
do. Hmm.
Probably enough for her.
Of course, no, of course. I mean, of course. Well, and again, I say of course, but another contributing factor was her memory, knowing that she is not really completely who she was, especially emotionally. So me sitting beside her bed, I mean, yeah, she's gonna know I'm there, but she's not going to do like she did before. Like, it does not matter.
Yeah.
Before, she would probably be looking for me. Now, if I'm away from the house and she has the TV on, she's like, when I walk in, oh, I thought you was in there. Where you were? So it's almost like I was trying to find a way to express what I felt on the inside. And I tried to use all of the resources that I had. And film was that. Film is my vehicle. And so I was like, we're going to document this journey, and I'm going to use this
But you,
as an opportunity to keep people. Oh, that's another thing too. My family wanted updates, and I was texting everybody and telling everybody where we were, what the doctor said, where, and I said I could just do the docuseries, and everybody who loves us and wants to know where we are, I could just give them the
yeah,
information. If anybody needs more information, they contact me, and if, but I say I could just give them a general, hey, you guys, this is, yeah.
very practical. And yeah, a picture's worth 1,000 words. They don't have to ask you so many questions. Really.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly,
But
exactly.
you're also teaching people that don't know you and your mother about end of life issues, and I think
Right, right,
we've been
right.
so conditioned to think about death as, something that we see on the news or crime dramas or something, and you're showing it real time and what that
Yeah,
is, and miracles happen. I mean, we're not
they
saying,
do.
you know, and I also want you to explain that this started as colon cancer.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will. It did. It started when it was 20, I want to say 2015, 2016, around that time. I was living in Shreveport because my work job had moved me, and I received a call saying that my mom had passed out at work. And they rushed her to the hospital. And what happened was she had lost a lot of blood. But in them doing a colonoscopy, they found a polyp, a very, very small polyp, but it was near a lymph node. Right. And they were like, we got to, do surgery. So we ended up transferring to Baton Rouge. They did the surgery, and she took a large part of her colon out on both sides of the polyp. Polyp really small, big part of the colon.
Mm,
And I think there was 16 lymph nodes on the colon that they needed to check to see because the lymph node if the cancer would have gotten the lymph node, it would send it all over the body. Then that's when you get lymphoma. So they had to make sure she didn't have that. But they said, okay, so after the surgery, we had to wait 2 weeks for them to open all of the lymph nodes and do a test, send it off, send it back. And it was, to see if she had to do radiation and chemo. They said that they didn't find any cancer in any of the lymph nodes, so she doesn't have to do radiation and chemo, but she needs to go back and still do her follow-up appointments just to make sure that it's not coming back. And that is what she did not do. But I will say this, the can even though she didn't do that, like the cancer didn't come back in her colon, it came back on her brain. There was no cancer anywhere else in her body
Yeah.
other than, yeah, it was a spot on her lung, but it was very, 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 very small. It was just the two big tumors on her brain. So even with her doing her checkups, they may have not had a reason to look in her head. You get what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
when it spreads from the place that it starts. So the fact that it made it to her brain means that it was in her bloodstream. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So,
Yeah.
so all of that, yeah. So 2019, into 2019, beginning of 2020, that's when it attacked her brain.
And do
So
your follow-up appointments. Very important. Do the
yeah,
testing,
just check on
do
yourself.
the
Most
testing,
definitely.
and do the follow-up appointments. Yeah, no, my dad
Yeah,
had prostate cancer in the 80s, and he died, and they removed his prostate. And he died of prostate cancer in 2007 because it had gone to his spine.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, you just never know. You just,
No,
you really never
no.
know. So, going through all of this, what has this taught you about what you want for your end of life?
I'm just ready. Look, I'm ready. Like when I die, even before this happened, like I was really, obsessed with near-death experiences and stuff. But since this started, it made me even more like, I just dived in deeper because I was like, I gotta make myself believe before she takes her last breath. I need to believe that we are going to meet after this in another place, no matter what come what may. I need and beliefs, they come at different levels. And I said I'm gonna do the best I can to make sure that I have the highest level of belief because that serves me, as far as my mental health and all that stuff. So I dived in, and like I said, even before, I had a very, my mom raised me with a very colorful view of the world. And even though she taught me to be cautious, I still was very optimistic. But now I'm not gonna say I'm optimistic. I still see good in the world, but I'm over this. Like I'm ready. I like when the Lord is ready for me, I feel like I'm here to do a job. You feel what I'm saying? When my job is done, I don't want to be a burden on anybody. I don't want to be sick. I don't want somebody to have to take care of me. If I can't live healthy, I'm ready. I'm ready to go. I'm just saying. And I'm not worried about what you do with my body. I'm not worried about, you can bury me in my backyard. Because once I'm gone, I'm not worried about it. They'll donate it to science. I'm just, once this life, I know I'm just passing through. Once I'm gone from here, I could care. I don't care. I don't care, So that's where I am.
Yeah, I know that you've
Yeah.
had a chance to meet well, the other parts of people that are, affiliates of Dying Your Way, Carrie and Valerie. And yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot to learn about dying and the
Yeah.
task of dying. And,
Yeah.
there's a lot of wishful thinking around dying that
Yeah.
is, what your mom's going through is really a progressive illness that most of us will go through, you know? So what we try to do is teach people to have things in place so you're not a burden, so you get the hospice help that you need. And I am just so proud of you that you've handled it the way that you have, and that you have professionals around you that are supporting you and your family, and your mom's getting the very best of care. I hope. Is she?
Yes, she is. I mean, they really are taking care of her. I mean, I know but right now, just to say that the healthcare industry is, with the COVID restrictions and all this stuff going, and then, a lot of people are sick right now. So they are, a lot of healthcare professionals are at their wits' end, like they're overworked,
Yeah.
underpaid, So, she's getting good care. There are things here and there that we have to do our part too. That's another thing to say. Like whenever healthcare professionals come in, yeah, they've been trained, they this and that, but we as family members, we still have to do our part to watch and see and monitor and look and
Oh,
whatever, just to
yeah.
make sure we cross all of our T's and dot our I's and everything.
And do
So
they train
yeah.
you to do that? Do they train you
Yeah.
what to look
Oh
for,
yeah.
ways?
Yeah. They Oh yeah, most definitely. If they bring it, even like for instance, she had a hairline fracture on her hip because before, when we were getting her up and putting her back, she had a little into the accident. Whew. But when we, and that made her in the bed, like we can't take her out of bed now, and her hip, it's been in pain and everything. So as with us, like flipping her and having to change and do whatever, it's she usually is in a lot of pain. So they had to bring in a pillow and different things to accommodate her, like a special mattress for her back. And everything that they bring in and that they use, they carefully, like you said, tell us, hey, this is what this is how you stretch, this is what you do, this is what you
Yeah.
write down. And they monitor it and they check on us even outside of the hours of operation. They'll
Yeah.
say, hey, I know earlier today sugar was kind of high, how's she doing now, she talking okay, so yeah, they really are
And
concerned.
because she's had the diagnosis for a year, and I'm assuming she's been on hospice longer than 6 months. Yeah.
Oh no, November. Well, yeah, November.
Oh,
Yeah,
she
she got
just
it, and that's
started
when
on
she was released.
hospice.
She
Okay.
did, yeah. Because before, like let's say like in July, she was walking. She was
Mm.
walking. July, August, she was walking. We were still taking her to the doctor. She was on chemo. She was still like able to do, and we were, my stepdad and I, whenever she was here at the house, we would care for her because
Mhm.
we didn't need like a hospital bed and all that stuff. We didn't need that. We got a wheelchair whenever she would get weak. But now that November's here, like I said, she had gotten dehydrated, and she also had lost or was losing, or at the end of losing her ability to walk.
I mean,
So
doesn't it make a difference though to the quality of life for her right now to have hospice and for the family? I mean,
most definitely.
how's it improve your quality of life having hospice?
Oh, most definitely. But listen, before, I mean, my stepdad, not to speak a lot, but it's hospice has a bad reputation, and I say that to say that most people believe that hospice is only for when people are like about to die, and like they come in and they help people transition, but they actually are like a home health care
Yeah.
situation for people who have terminal illnesses and may be close to death. But
And it's
that's not,
free.
it exactly, and not only that, but they offer more resources and services than home health care. And
Yeah.
like the other thing, and everything, they bring it all to you in your home. They accommodate you. Like you said, it's free, all of that. But because it's built the reputation that it has, like I said, even my family, they were like, well, hospice, I don't think that's just, I don't think we need to do that, and so what I was telling them, like you said before, my stepdad and I, it was hard to get her in the bath, not in the shower. Not only is it hard because she's losing her ability to walk, but her mind is telling her that she's been taking baths. So not only do we have to argue with her, but we have to get her up. We have to go through all the things. So she had gotten to the point to where she wasn't bathing as much as I know my mother
Yeah.
would bathe. You
Yeah.
get where I'm coming from? And as but me, it's like in my mind, I'm like, well, we don't have home health care. I don't know at this point. I don't know what to do. What do I do? I can't, and I don't have it in me to go in there and get her up and argue with her and hold her, get her in the tub, do all that. Like, not every night, not 3 nights a week. So, and that bothered me so much. So much so that whenever I was talking to family about doing it, they was like, no, I don't think I said, well, are you gonna come bathe her? Because she needs to be taken back. Like my mom, like, she doesn't get it, but I know that mama, I know her, and we need some help, and not only that, but she became extremely dehydrated on our watch. And I'm not saying that we were neglecting her, we care for her, but we could not make her drink. We could not. And so we just let her be. And we weren't seeing the signs of her kidneys shutting down.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's almost like, so
You're not professionals. Why would you know
exactly,
that? And I
exactly,
think for
exactly.
people that are listening, I think what you're hearing David talk about his family going through at what I call a transition stage, where, she's going along pretty well. She's walking and eating and drinking and everything, and then she stops. That's a transition stage where a new level of care is needed. And
Mhm.
it's because of her safety, not only for your well being, but it's for her safety and security too. So knowing when to, and that's why end of life doulas are so great, is because they know to look for those transition points where you're not, tossing and turning and feeling guilty and beating yourself up about what the next step is. Someone's in there to
Yeah.
say, this is what it looks like is happening. Let's just get a hospice evaluation at least, you know? Yeah.
And yeah, that's how they definitely improve or increase the quality of life for us, because we have a nurse that comes once a week to check her vitals, to check everything, to make sure she, just to see if there is a change, like you said, to order something and go, oh, we need to investigate that. And then
Mhm.
we have another nurse that comes 5 days a week to bathe her. So, she's getting, like I said, she's clean, she's eating. My stepdad makes sure she's fed and everything. So she's, you know.
Yeah, I felt like it was getting 20 tons lifted off my shoulders when hospice came in.
Mm, yeah.
But it was, yeah, and I learned a lot about what I'm doing now just from what they taught me,
Wow.
because I was,
Wow. Wow.
yeah,
Okay.
it's great. Okay, I'm going to ask you this, and if this is too personal, just, you don't have to answer it, but I know how much your Christian faith means to you. I know how much that means to you and what a rock that's been for you. But I've also heard I don't know if it was in the docuseries or if it was an interview, that you have felt anger and you have been, you know, not questioning your faith, but how has that affected your relationship with God?
Oh, I'm not angry at God. I want to say that. I feel like I really feel like God knows best. I never at no point of this journey did I ever feel like, God, why is this happening to me? Or what are you doing? Like you're messing up my life. Like I never felt like that. I always felt like, dang, like if I always pray that God's will be done. And somewhere along the way of my Christian walk, I don't know where it is. Because like I said, I've never been in this situation before, and I've seen people go through stuff like this and easily just say, wow, like my faith is shaking because I'm calling on God and He's not saying nothing. But for in my mind, I know there's a God, and I know that He knows better than me. And if this is happening, then it's like even when before we knew that she was going to make it through the surgery, I had my time with God and I said, look, Lord, everybody is telling me, oh yeah, just claim it. God gonna heal it. Just say it. Just know. Just stand on God's word. And I'm like, I get that, but to me, and I don't mean to talk about people because everybody has their own relationship with God. But for me, I believe that if you give me what I want in this situation and it's not part of your plan, it'll make things worse. Because
Mhm.
what I don't want is for my mom to make it and to be sitting here a vegetable or to be sitting here in pain, just living. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't, and I want what's best for everybody. So like I said, I talk to God and I say, God, if it's not in your will for this to go the way that everybody is praying for it to go, then I want you to prepare me for that, because I know that you would not give me anything that I was not ready for, or that was not meant to make me stronger and catapult me into a direction or a season that I'm meant to be in, to do a work, you
Mhm.
know. So yeah, so that's my thing. Like I still, like, even to this day, for God, like I don't want my mom to be in pain. And when I see her in pain for whatever reason, I do pray to God and I ask Him, I was like, please, this is the part of the journey that for me is torture. But as long as she's good, if I can look and see that she's in peace, Lord, I'm rolling with you. We're gonna get through this. We're gonna get through this. Yeah. So,
Well, I just feel like that you are such a wonderful, I mean, I'd say young man. You're 33. That's not so young, but you are a wonderful
right.
young man. You're so good.
Praise God.
You
Thank
are
you.
such an example of courage and commitment, and
Thank
your
you.
advocacy for your mother, is something that really all of us, uh, I just want everybody to have that kind of advocate because it makes such a difference to the quality of life at the end of life. So,
Oh no, yeah, it does. It does.
thanks
And
for,
love is an action now. I never knew love to be an action. It was a feeling, it was a word, it was just a fluffy time. Whenever we would all, family would say things, but to kind of see love in this light where it's sacrifice and it's actually doing and not even feeling the burden of it, because this person, you love them so much, they need you, and
mm,
you have the ability to do it. So it's almost like I said, love became an action to change her her pamper, and to smell the body fluids and all of that. But for all of that to kind of like for you to do because I thought just to be candid, before this happened, that was my worst fear. Even just thinking about caregiving, all that stuff. I'm like, man, I'm just not used to. I'm not ready to change my mom. I'm not ready to see her private area. I'm not ready to do none of that stuff. Like I'm not. I'm just saying. I was like, I'm sorry. And the hospice nurse was like, well, sometimes you got to step up. And I said, yeah, I'm gonna do it. But I know, if it needs to be done. But that is just us. But the first time that I did it, and even now, like helping my stepdad, really, no matter how gross. As a matter of fact, the gross it is, sitting down after it's over and just thinking about having done it, it gives me a sense of purpose that I never had before.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
really does. It's
Yeah.
like, wow, I wonder my mom, if I'd have told my mom when I was 7 years old, yeah, that, hey, I'm gonna be changing your diaper. I hear people clown about it like that. I'm gonna be changing your diapers one day. You better watch how you talk to me,
No,
stuff like that. I never.
I'm laughing because the lowest point for me was when I had to give my dad an enema. That was my
Ah,
point. Never,
it's like,
ever.
mm,
That's just part of it. And yeah, you kind of get over
yeah.
it. You just kind of get over it,
You do, yeah.
and laugh
If I
about
can think, yes, if I can encourage anybody to listen to this after the first time, it's gonna be a hell of a lot better. It's
it.
not a piece of cake, but it's gonna, like you say, get better and better. Yeah.
I mean, we're going to have to, unfortunately, in this wonderful conversation, and I want them, would you tell them what your website is and how they can
Mhm.
contact you?
Okay, you can contact me. I won't give my phone number.
Now,
No,
give
but
your
my web.
Facebook and yeah, all that
Okay,
website.
my Facebook is David Sylvester Jr. You can send me a message. Like my page, David Sylvester Jr. My website is www.tdsband. So TDS stands for the David Sylvester. So TDSBAND.com, and all of my works and creative whatever is that it's on my website if you
Yeah,
want to,
and
and you can reach me that way too.
we'll have links on our social media page and stuff too. I just got to say this as I was listening to your music, and I spent a lot of time listening to it because I really loved
Oh,
it.
thank you,
Really,
thank you.
not just this song that I'm going to play us out on, but what was it? Was another one. I was like, oh my God, he sounds like Stevie Wonder in Intervisions. Do you know that
Oh
album
wow,
Intervisions?
no ma'am,
Oh, you
I'm not
gotta
familiar
get it.
with it.
You
I
got
will. I'm about to take it out. Intervisions.
Intervision, Stevie Wonder. Oh my God, it's
Okay.
just like some of his best work, and that's the quality of your voice, and that's the sound of your voice, and I just think you're going to be big star.
No, to God be the glory. We're gonna
To
roll and
God
ride this
be the
train.
glory. Okay, this is not the same song. It's gone to something else. Let me find. Here we go. Okay, let's play this out with Mama. I'm long overdue. Thank you, David. It's
Thank
about
you for
time
having me.
I
I
spoke.
appreciate you.
All the best to your mom.
Thank you.
Send
Thank
her our love.
you. Yes, ma'am. I will do. Okay.
You are the
Yeah.
best thing that ever happened to me. You're at the center. And this is David Sylvester Jr. You'll hear more about him. Bye, David.